So if you need this lecture, just remember where it came from. This guy's name, or he needs this lecture.
Oh,
He is ridiculous.
I had all of this straight up there and it's still not where I
Track of
want it.
myself, so I'm gonna give up stuff right away.
You give up stuff. Hey, Jim, how are you?
Good.
Good. So good to see you. Hey, Felix.
I'm not sure. Oh.
Nope, I need to get rid of that. I still don't have this where I wanted it. Even as high up as I got it, it still wants to cut off everybody's heads.
But I could do. 50% of rate. It was a certain amount.
Good.
And again, I could go on. It's just something I was working on today. I don't know. Did you see, of course, you're in the back. Flying ball.
You got through the end of that, you back up around, didn't you? Somebody texted.
Yeah, that's free, that's a public. He tried to pass a bill through the bill. That's why I tried money for, the fires from the fire emergency fire. That they haven't been charged to state income tax. And yes. Well,
That's what I want it to be.
but they, it went through the Senate, but it did not go. And it got to the governor's.
I'll get it together.
That's the insurance policy.
So you still writing about it? I wrote it today.
I'll work for it.
Tomorrow.
Right.
Well, it starts to get cold.
Right, but
Rain starting Monday, so
they're.
probably put it away.
How
long does it much guts you got?
How that works.
This morning, I left at 9 o'clock in the morning.
How do I have to get this thing?
Okay. I was bundled up, but I didn't put on my leather.
Pushed it up.
Yeah, probably. I don't know if she's a whip is higher. I think she needs.
Maybe the.
Yeah.
Need another handbook?
That's better. Oh, no, no, no.
She really, she's.
No, you're not there.
Sandy.
Yes.
Owen had a question on that number 13 was on the agenda.
You know what you can do.
I just, hold on. Sorry, I
Oh.
forgot to print some.
You want me to go do it?
I don't know.
You want me to go do it?
No, because I'm probably gonna have to.
Okay, it was a good question. But my bet, the best bet is that might be what that was considered. That's why that is not necessarily the right bet.
Got it. I gotta go home.
That's okay.
I gotta go home for a minute. Okay. If you try something. Always cool. You immediately took her to the original. That's. Okay.
I'll bet.
You know, those gens that are eating like NASA stuff.
My grandson is stationed, or rather, Chase's brother is stationed in, at Fort Campbell in Kentucky, and his girlfriend lives in Tennessee. And they go, not frequently, but they go.
Okay.
So, yeah. So was it, did the rain do much?
Yeah, they want it.
We actually, we were able to hang out with our friends for a little bit, ceremony from kind of the wedding things there. They set up the rain in the hurricane. Didn't hardly come. I got a little bit.
Yeah, see, and Fort Campbell, one little bit.
That one,
This
they
area,
add in
we have some
super
issues.
pounds.
And
Shout out to your board. Say, Chuck.
no, it's you. It, I got to do still do this.
One
I
night,
need to
come back
turn it
there.
on, but it's,
And with your.
Well, Grand Sierra.
Stuff.
From there.
pull it up.
Yeah, maybe now we
It
get her.
knows that the-
Yeah, I know, honestly, their CBC,
Into.
37 minutes.
Tennessee. It's huge.
37
Are you looking it up?
And then drum.
Okay, you probably can do it quicker than I can.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna turn them,
They gave us an executive summary.
it's big time.
They did. I'm trying to tell
And
you.
there is a confidentiality clause in here.
So they got some of them, and then
If you cannot share that.
last year, when one of them went through, it for one of the kids that is in his event, it tore the roof off his deck.
Did you see that confidentiality?
Yeah.
I did. You can show it. If I wanted to speak about information.
You know, it's-
Over here. Hey,
Get that.
okay, it's on the podium.
Oh,
They should have put it in our
It
package.
it doesn't matter.
Video. it's an interview. It's, others. Look at that here.
It's what they're used to.
Yeah.
And what we get as earthquakes is. I don't know being coming off from it.
No.
It's gonna slide off one of these days. You laugh, you'll be calling me and saying you were right.
My mom was, she was working for AT&T at the time, but she was in San Francisco.
I had a girlfriend who was caught on the bridge. And she called me. Thank you. She was there. But she had just, so she was like, some, because I know I like the first, you know. So she probably was in the second week that they got on. It's stretching.
Felix will be back on just 1 minute. And.
Fire chief down my road, so.
No, he's got a banker.
Sounds something. Sad, always sad.
They have a corner.
Huh? I'm always surprised.
Yeah.
Everything's surprising, you know, it's proud, everything. Surprising. No escape.
No, I don't. For the God, not to you, not this week. If you would see that. So make it pretty. Hello? I'm judging that also. I mean.
Oh, yes.
We had two power outages. And unfortunately, we came back on 30 power. And this, yep, two of our switches. Thought we were gonna have to replace them, but it sounds like that we just put the wiring on this for one switch. That's really title that we use for about press. Race call.
Okay.
It was in the mail.
You're right, legal table, you know.
And basically it's what is
This is like.
when you power outage, we need to
Just of what she.
turn everything off.
Are you taking yours back?
But we have,
Yeah, I just wanna add something.
we have SCADA system, you know.
Well, you got
so-
two of them.
So
Huh? You got two of them.
it's-
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so the power went off, unfortunately, it was filling up the Herlong tank. So it was filling up the Herlong, the power went off, went right to the generator, kept filling. And it recognized that there was power, so the generator went on and popped on back on the system, but when it popped back on, it had dirty power. So there wasn't enough volts
Yeah. so
to
it's-
keep it running. So, yeah, we could go Friday, we spent all kinds of.
Herlong Public Utilities District meeting to order. Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. What? Okay. Roll call, starting with Mr. Flores.
Here.
Mr. Harris,
Here.
Ms. Reed,
Here.
Ms. Johnson,
Here.
Mr. Swistowicz, here. All present and accounted for.
Thank you.
Approval of agenda,
So not knowing, I was talking to Director Reed and we believe that item 13 and item 10 are possibly the same. And if that's the case, we would ask to remove item 13.
say that again.
Item 10 and item 13 may possibly be the same. So we would ask to remove item 13 because one was asked by Director Reed and one was asked by Director Flores.
So we could change the agenda with the board vote?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah, just approve it by removing 13.
okay. So
If that's okay with both of the directors.
Item 13 from the agenda based on the fact that it can be covered under policy 5060.
I need to approve that we remove item 13.
Who second?
I said.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay, now. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda with changes?
I motion to approve the agenda with changes.
All in
Second.
favor? Oh, 2 seconds.
Second.
David seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Public comments. The first person I have up is Mr. John Everett. Topic is general management and needs.
What, number one is general manager, number two is Wayne.
Yeah, right.
Okay. I believe in, when the board looks at at giving people a 5% once a year incentive, they're doing a good job. I think that the general manager was overlooked and should have been. When you figure she did her normal job plus a $12 million job for West Patton Village with water, sewer, and all our sidewalks and our new roads and stuff. And the fact that our general manager worked on this thing for like 5 years before we get it to the point where we could actually do it. And reams of paper this high, I've seen back and forth when I was president of the board of correspondence with Sacramento. Every time we turn around, we had to do something different, something more, something more. and to redo it. And so I feel that the general manager should get the 5% raise to say, or one time 5%, the same as voice got. And on the second part I wanted to talk about was liens. The liens are for the fire department. The fire department needs money, and the only way we get money is from liens. And we have to apply the liens to the situation to get our fire department money. I know it was turned down. I think it should be relooked at. I see it was on the agenda. I'm glad to see that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President.
President, based on the, Mr. Everett's, presentation, I would like to, see if we could ask the board to re-agendize, looking back at Mrs. Jefferson's, consent pay, and put that on the agenda for our next board meeting, if the board agrees.
I think we need to discuss that during, the closed session. So we can discuss that during the closed session. Mr. Kelsey, yes, the topic is dark skylighting.
Yes, sir. I mean, it was certainly petty compared to Mr. Everett's observations with our general manager, et cetera. But in recent times, we've had some stellar events, if you will, comets, aurora borealis. And unfortunately, the village that I live in, there's too many lights. I mean, I understand people need safety and they need security, but I can see several lights from my yard and they're blaring into my yard. I would like something, and I have the information, and I'd like to present the president to look at as a consideration, because we are paying for the light. We're paying $5 a month. I know it's not much, but we need to consider upgrading the lights into the 21st century. You'll note also in this pack little piece of paper I'm serving to you, Mr. President, information pertaining that there is some derogatory statements considering the people who did and who live in the area, and I'm not happy with that idea that we're blind, we're just look out here, make sure you're safe. We're safe. It's just like a door lock. A lock only keeps honest people honest. A light, I had a street light 10, 15 feet further away from where I'm living now. They didn't need a flashlight to steal my alternator. People are gonna rob you with a light or no light, sir. And that's all I wanted to say. I'd like to present this to you as information considered. Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Okay, that's all the public comment we have. Next thing is minutes. Review and possible action, including the minutes from August 27th, 2024, regular board meeting. Also review and possible action, including the minutes from September 24th, regular board meeting. Do I have a motion?
If the, quote from the attorney who was not here at the meeting, if, the stuff that he talked about outside of the meeting is removed from the minutes, I then motion for it to be approved.
Which,
Say it once again.
which month and which
August.
portion?
So I'm only talking about the August minutes.
Right.
In the director's updates, it has, that the attorney had spoken to outside of the meeting and what his comments is in regards to what his personal opinion is in regards to something I asked for during, my director part. And I'm sorry, not in the general manager, in the director's updates. And that he wasn't at the meeting. I don't think he should be quoted in minutes for a meeting he wasn't at.
I believe. Unless we have something, email or something.
In the August one. You're not putting on that one. Yeah, because you already abstained. Yeah. You're gonna have to vote on the minutes separately.
Yeah.
So I motion for
But
that to be, for minutes to be approved with that being removed.
with what you have highlighted there.
Yes, with what the attorneys personal opinion was about something.
What page is that?
So that's,
So if you go in the minutes,
Yeah.
it is the fourth page, the very last page. Right, by the signatures.
in
August.
September.
August.
This is.
So are you deleting after job all the way down?
No, making the comment after job, well. Yes,
Because
so
you
making the comment into a period and then. the
delete
rest of it
everything.
deleted.
Yeah, I have issues with that too. I have issues with the fact that if the attorney gives direction or his opinion, it should be on his legal letterhead with his comment so that we can see it. Even if like in this instance, we should have something from him stating what he said, because right now what we got is hearsay. So I think what we need to do is whenever the attorney gives an opinion or some type of direction that comes with on his email or his letterhead, so that we know that that's what he said. And it goes for the director too. If they ask the question and the response should be the same, so that all the directors can see that it's from the attorney. So anyway, you want that part deleted?
Yes,
Okay,
and I am doing that in a motion to approve the August minutes with that portion
with that
deleted.
exception,
Yes.
okay. So that would be the whole director's update, Paris, Swiss, non-direct, with that one right there.
just after GM job, period, and then
So you want the whole thing, okay,
Yeah, after the word job is gonna be a period and the rest of it too.
okay. So. The motion's on the floor, do I have a second? Discussion?
I was absent in that meeting, so I'm abstaining.
Oh, yeah, you just. So, the motion's been made, I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have 2 ayes and 3 ayes and 2 abstentions. September. Do I have a motion or any discussion on the September 24th, 2024 minutes?
Well, it says here that you asked for the annual liens to not be voted on during the last meeting, but you weren't at the last meeting.
Yeah, because I wanted to,
Okay, so that's, okay, because you being, with you not being there, that was also hearsay, and that's in the minutes for.
when I'm relating stuff back to the board from a board member or from. And he had called in and said he wasn't going to be able to make it. That's what he asked. That's what I presented when we first started to vice chair. That Swiss had asked to please table that one item until he could be here.
And he can verify that, because he came out of his mouth.
yeah, I did. I want
That's what I
that,
just said.
especially And then I forgot one that I wanted, but it went forward.
And then there's also a typo in the GM report. It says December board meetings failed, which I think is more of a Freudian slip. And so it probably needs to be fall. FALL instead of FAIL.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where she's at.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm under the GM report in September. It's the third line. It's the second word.
Should be fall, yeah.
Yes.
And then also in there, it says that the rate study, they would like to present the rate study. But I was under the impression that they're not actually doing the rate study, that they are. No, we still had to vote on what company was going to do the rate study, and that wasn't brought to us.
Yes, it was. And you guys voted on that like 4 months ago.
Okay, let me bring out the board. Which month did we do it?
Because
Because I have every single. board meeting I've
Director
been to.
Flores made the motion to go with SUSP because he believed in California Rural Water and what they have done for our district and what they do for the state. And and Director Flores is the one who brought that forward to vote and to pay for SUSP because it was actually more reasonable.
Are we looking at June? Which one are we looking at? Every
I
single-
don't know. I just know that when you guys okayed that, it was several months ago because they've been working on it for.
I have every single agenda, so let me see.
Cause they called California Rural, you're talking in Sacramento, right?
California Rural Water and
I
you,
told them the other day, Okay. and I bet what I recall, Sandy, is you said that you knew a guy you met at the meeting here, and you were gonna get a hold of him. That he was,
No,
he
I
did,
brought- I'm sorry, I'll go grab my minutes, but I brought both.
you got the thumb drive?
I brought both of the proposals to you folks and you guys voted on the proposals. And then you asked at one of the board meetings, who was SUSP because we paid for half of it. It was half before, and you guys are the ones that went with them because the second proposal was like 43,000 and this one is 25,000. And you said, yes, you wanted to go with them because of California Water. And you're the one that moved the motion forward.
Okay. I must be, no. I can't, how long has it been?
No, I don't remember us,
I don't remember it, I can't really stick it out. Mr. Harris, do you remember me talking about? California Water Authority didn't think in my head except for 2 days ago, because I called him for something.
so I started on the board over January, so I brought every single one. January, all the emails and agendas.
I'm gonna jog your memories. I do remember there being a substantial conversation about where the rate study was going towards, literally Circo.
Yeah, I remember that one, that's when we thought we needed, we were here, matter of fact.
Always trying.
Yeah, so I remember that, and that's when she said she knew a guy she met at a meeting. That's what he did, he was gonna get a hold of it.
You know, June 4th board packet.
So I
We did both the attorney and the rate study.
I know we talked about the rate study. But I don't remember,
Request for proposal for water and
think so.
wastewater rate study.
but all I remember, she was gonna go talk to someone.
No,
She's reading it.
Sandy,
she's
I'm trying
reading
to
it
recall,
to
I'm
you,
not accusing anybody of anything, I'm trying
But
to
she's
recall.
reading the minutes to you,
so in June, it says Director Flores suggested HPUD go with SUSP CRWA because CRWA has always been helpful and supportive of HPUD. Director Flores made the motion to accept SUSP's proposal of 26,980.
And this is in the June meeting, the June minutes, or the minutes we voted on in June?
No, the minutes from June. Director Reed seconded the motion. And everybody was in favor. There was no absent. You all were present. You voted on your attorney that meeting and you voted on your rate study that meeting. And all of that was in your June board packet. You had both of the proposals and you had like 4 proposals for attorneys that board meeting.
Okay, I have the minutes right here for the June meeting. And please, in the minutes, we talked about the financials, the minutes for, of course, May. We've got the fire department, we had the general election, we have requests for proposals for legal counsel. We had the annual review of policy 2330. We had, so the 2330 goes over to here. We had the Sierra, we talked about the Sierra Lines meeting, the Green Lake fence, the Sutter Creek sewer, LAFCO. This is the meeting inside the minutes. Minutes.
With your signature.
It was my signature because I trusted you that it was gonna be the same as what was up as what we voted for here. Oh, I'm totally feeling gaslit right now, because what you have in this is not what she has here. So what we voted for and new business that she added, which was not even on the June agenda.
Yes, it is.
No, I think you go back, I think you go back and I think you change them. I do not trust you at all, which is exactly why I want every Zoom to stop it. Which is exactly why I want every Zoom meeting to be recorded and kept. This was your, this is the agenda that is part of it right here. Where does it talk about in this agenda right here? Where does it talk about?
This was actually May 28th, which was canceled. And we did it. And like. We made a special meeting for June 4th. So this was May's meeting. It should have been done.
May's meeting, okay? We covered the May, the agenda shouldn't have changed.
Jim, do you still got your agendas?
And here is your complete board packet.
No. No, I'm gonna check those too when I get home. I keep all my agendas. I still have mine.
Legal counsel. Request for proposals for a water and wastewater rate study. But not review and possible action of fire from. All right.
That's 2 rate studies right there of your proposals. So it was a May meeting that got canceled and you guys had it June 4th at a special board meeting. With the exact same agenda. When they never changed.
And we only have one company in here.
No, there's 2, ma'am.
Keep looking. I will.
One was for 43,000, the other one was for 26. Director Flores had suggested because A, it was cheaper, and B, because CRWA has always been supportive of HPUD.
You have few members of the audience that were here that remember the well.
Thank you.
They're in there. Karen,
What,
they're in there.
yeah, I found one. Let's see, Fargo. I guess I wonder why SUSP is still with, their stuff is with Fargo, but maybe not as an accident. Yep, I am wrong.
So we did it a
Except
month
for-
earlier.
It was supposed to be part of the May agenda, but for some reason, we didn't have a May meeting and we did a special meeting June 4th. So we had 2 meetings in June. We had a June 4th meeting to make up for May.
Is that the one you canceled? The
Yes.
May meeting?
Yes. Because she thought people weren't gonna, it was right around the.
Yeah, because I was on my way, you told
Mrs.
me not to
Harris
come
passed away.
because
We,
there might not be people here.
Uh-huh,
So instead of me coming down, you said, don't come down. But then there was 2 people here,
uh-huh.
but that got canceled without even waiting to start at 5:30.
because I had 2 board members saying they weren't going to be here and I really didn't believe that Mr. Harris was going to be here with his wife passing away 24 hours
I
before.
understand
And I
But
just
it-
thought
but
it was
again-
better to,
Wouldn't you wait till 5:30?
no, not when we have people that are coming from Reno, people coming from all over, cancel it so that you keep people from driving for a meeting that's not
No, I'm
happening.
saying, instead of, you came to the conclusion before the meeting started for me not to come. I would have been here at 5:30.
You-
Mr.
you
Harris would
were-
have been here at 5:30.
The only 2 that I knew were coming were you and Miss Reed. I hadn't heard from anybody else, and 2 of you already had told me you were not going to be here because of medical issues.
Who, me?
No,
No,
Oh, I mean, okay, the other 2. So then that meeting got canceled on an assumption on your part.
yes,
May I, President Switzerwitch, may I please make a comment?
Pardon?
May I please make a comment?
Yes.
If that be the case, and there were only 3 here, with the way that it has read in the special districts code, it wouldn't have carried anyway, because of the way that it's written.
no, it still would have carried.
can we, so we found your minutes. Are you,
Yes.
are you approving, we are in the middle of the minutes. Are we approving September minutes or are we not approving September minutes?
So, do I have a motion to approve
Are we
September
making changes?
24th, 2024 minutes?
With the change of the misspelling?
I motioned, the only change was just to the spelling of the one word.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Financial review and file September 2024 financial and check register.
I got a question, Sandy. On the USDA checking, I guess it is. There, it says 0 all the way across.
We got rid of that account when we finished that loan. And we had kept, there was no reason to keep that checking account. It was
We
a
no-
checking,
We
it
no
was,
longer have it.
no, we haven't had it for several years.
But then why do we have it on the financial? Just asking. It doesn't exist, why is it not in our financials?
It's on your spreadsheet showing all your bank accounts that we used to have. I just need to delete it off of that spreadsheet. Because
Okay.
actually,
And then the USDA reserve, is that for the money we borrow from?
No, all three of those are no longer there. Those were original bank accounts that were on.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
Thank you.
Oh. You'll have a motion to accept the financials.
I've got one more question for this.
Okay.
I couldn't find out, I couldn't make it out. What page is that? What interest did we make, last month?
On your investments
Yeah.
page, if you look at it,
What page?
it's the very last part of your financials. It says investments and reserve report.
Maybe that's the way I couldn't find it. Last page.
It's just before the mileage, sir. So on 5-star, the current interest is 1748.29 with a total of 19,648 for the year. The Cal class isn't broke down, but it's a total of 34,324.47 for the year, which I believe we got about another $3,500 in interest in September.
So for the year, it's 19,000, we got two more.
Now you've got
Right?
you've got 19,648 plus the 34,324. So you're at $53,000 in interest for the year.
And you're just gonna put it back into the general fund.
It's in the same accounts that they're in. It's just reinvesting.
Okay.
Okay, are there any other comments on the financials? None. Do I have a motion to accept the financials as written, as presented?
I'm working with the set the financials and then I'll report as written.
1 second, though.
Okay, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Fire department updates.
So the fire department for September, there was 7 calls, 6 were medical, 1 was a fire. I updated the board on the fire a couple weeks ago when it happened. It was down at the old church where we had a board meeting years ago. So
Sam's place.
yeah. So both Hunter and Mike were there with 1020 and they were there for the full duration. And after Syed came, so they worked with Syed to get the fire out. And then because it's our jurisdiction, they were there for cleanup and mop up and had to babysit it for a couple of days. And we do all the reporting on that. Which anytime there's a fire like that, we have to do an investigation. So it takes extra time, more inputting into NIFers into the state so they know what's going on. So Lassen County Fire Chief and FireNet Lassen meetings, the CAL FIRE and BLM are staying staffed. BLM, last I heard was they're still there as of last Tuesday, even though they said they'd be out of there by the 8th. And CAL FIRE promised to be there for the full year because of our high fire possibilities in our area. Both with the concern with the low moisture and the high fire dangers. There is a structure day coming up on Saturday, November 6th. that we've been invited to go to, for training. I don't know if our volunteers will be able to go or not, because I don't know what one of our volunteers' work hours are. But they are looking into that. And then, Miss Director Johnson had asked for us to look at the fire auxiliary, which really doesn't have a lot to do with our board. It's a separate entity, but really, unfortunately, we have a checking account with fire auxiliary with about $1,700 in it. Eula has been the only member, and the only person that has a signature on that account is Grover, because the people that also signed on it in the past are no longer in the neighborhood, like Heidi Friend, quite a few people. So I just wanted it in our minutes for Sierra Central that this board gives permission for Eula to sign on that account. I don't know if, because Miss Grover is no longer with the fire department, whether that would automatically take that signature off. But he had signed for it for us like 4 years ago, because we almost lost that $1,700 because it had been idle. So the bank had contacted the office and said, hey, you guys need to change signatures. Nobody's in the neighborhood anymore, da, da, da. And Grover was the only one available at that point in time. So Grover went down and signed. So we need to be able to get Grover's name off of that account. Director Johnson is heading up the auxiliary. So if we could get her signature and possibly another public member, it would be really helpful.
Where did Teresa and Miss Truck in the meeting?
Is it drunken?
That's an odd.
Director Sussman, may I say something?
Yes.
Trying to find people in this neighborhood to volunteer for something as innocuous as that. Because it's not that we meet all the time or do a lot of anything. But trying to find volunteers, people will not step up and volunteer. And I really would prefer to not just have my name on that account. I don't like dealing with financials. I think I've made that very clear to everybody. But I'd like for someone else's name to be on that account also.
So I think we voted for you.
You of course you would say.
I'll give you a hand on that stuff.
Hey,
Are
you know, you volunteering?
To get on the account.
Yeah.
And then, if you do something on a Saturday or something, I'm willing to help out, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's only when the guys go out, they need help, if they're out there in the field, they need food, they need water, whatever, we're just a gopher for them.
Okay.
And we have bake sales occasionally when we can get volunteers to do that.
That was gonna be like fundraisers and stuff like that.
Yeah, fundraisers.
Well,
That's part's fun.
It is.
And the thing that they've done in the past is they've, the auxiliary has bought T-shirts and things for the volunteer fire department. We had talked about with that $1,700 4 years ago about possibly buying like a dress sweater for events that they would have. But nothing, it's sitting there. The money is sitting there. Not making any interest, just sitting in a checking account when nobody can reach it because none of
We'll give it a shot. For a year, if it doesn't succeed, then,
Yeah,
All right.
you volunteer after the first. Oh, that's good.
Thank you, Felix. Thank you, Swiss.
You're on it.
Oh, I'm
You
clear
know
this
it.
on it. I can do it.
Yeah.
I thought they changed that under that if we're at a picnic and all of us are there. And we're not sneaking in a corner. No, that's against the Brown Act. But if we're socializing at an event, that's not against the Brown
I
Act.
understand that, but I just don't want the
appearance.
appearance
Okay.
of
Okay, I understand.
the directors running two boards.
Okay,
And Sandy just made a statement that stuck out in my head. That I still am not clear about. The volunteer fire department falls under the H code. But the auxiliary who is actually over them?
That's
Their
you
own
guys.
identity. It's
That's
just
not
like
us.
VFW.
It's just like somebody.
It's independent.
Independent, okay.
There's a group
As
of
long
people
as
from
it's
the
not
neighborhood,
falling under us, we're okay.
do fundraisers for the fire department.
Yeah.
That's what it is. There's nobody controlling them. What we, they say you come up with an idea, we don't have, okay, that's a good idea. Jim will be on it after the first year, we can say, yeah, let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
We don't have to ask permission.
The other problem that we have is the bank is asking for an EIN number, and I'm not aware of an EIN number for that. I don't know if the bank just originally let them start a checking account, because when they were local, they probably took somebody's social security number, so I don't even know who's attached to it. So it may be such that the auxiliary will need to file for an EIN number.
I believe you're correct, because I remember being on West County Building Board and the volunteer fire department auxiliary was formed. We just all got together and said, hey, let's have a party and call ourselves the auxiliary. But there was nothing ever that I know of legally on paper saying that we were an auxiliary.
Well, I think if we get one started, and this is kind of getting off the topic, but real quick, we have to become a nonprofit, because we're taking money from the public. And
Yes,
so we have to account for all the money that we take in, that we're not taking money from the public and going to Vegas for the weekend.
Oh, come
So to protect ourselves, the village should be becoming a nonprofit.
Director Johnson,
And there's a,
you probably could reach out to Pam, Alt. She helped the Sierra Alliance with a lot of our nonprofit stuff, and she might be able to help you get your EIN and your other in her spare time.
Yeah, okay.
But
So-
I'd reach out to Pam. She
I-
was
I-
very helpful.
I have a question. Do we have a fire chief?
We have a fire captain,
Fire captain is that's what it's called, and that would be Mike?
correct?
how many volunteers do we have now?
We have one that's active.
Mike?
No, Mike and Hunter.
But Hunter's now employed completely full-time with the fire department on the job.
Yeah, well, that's what volunteerism is. I mean, you're not gonna get around it. It's just like people say, when I was asking them to put in the video, I said, would you join the volunteer fire department? And because we need firefighters, and he said, well, I work nights. Well, then he can respond during the day, just like the people who work during the day respond at night. I mean, it is what it is. That's what volunteerism is all about. So, but anyway, getting back on topic here.
And so the last thing that I have on the fire department was the fitness policy we had brought, when I went to the fire chiefs meeting, and FireNet last month, only one, out of 13 volunteer fire departments, only one volunteer fire department actually has a fitness test, and that's the city of Susanville's volunteers. The other 13 do not have fitness, test. Like Director Switzerus has said in the past, once you passed, the academy, you passed your fitness.
Yeah.
That's
the way they work it. That's the way the districts are. And I gotta interject here, because you can't compare Susanville Fire Department to the districts. Because that is a fire department which is augmented by volunteers. And the reason that they have to meet those standards is because back when this volunteer firefighter thing started, the regular firefighters that had volunteers backing them up said, listen, it's not fair. We got to go through years and years of training and and do this. And these guys are backing this up, and they don't have the same training as we, and we can't depend on them. So what the state did was come in and say that those type of departments, those volunteers have to be the same as the firefighters, the regular firefighters in that department. And San Francisco and all those other fire departments in the area, they use volunteers too. But those volunteers got to meet the same standards eventually, not right away, but they got a little bit more leeway to get there because they're volunteers and they have other jobs. But they have to have the same because those volunteers augment the regular fire department. And a way to put that for everybody is the National Guard and Reserve get the same training as the regular Army because they're their backup. That's what that's for. The districts are given a lot more leeway because one, California doesn't give any money to any of the volunteer districts. Cal Fire doesn't. The city doesn't, and Lansing County doesn't. We're on our own. So if those guys want to start dictating to us how we run our fire department, then they need to contribute to the training. And I think one time, Sandy, we had that. I think it was a website that you could go to that you could recoup money that you spent on training from the state. And then I think either you or Trish tried it and nobody answered your emails or your phone calls or whatever. So, you know, that number was bogus. So but that's the history. So anyway, getting back to it,
So
you can debate that later. Do we have any further on the fire department?
no, just whether you guys wanted to do anything with the fitness policy, because like you stated, unfortunately, all volunteers have to have the same. They're supposed to be having 20 to 40 hours a month in training, just like all firefighters. They're supposed to have all the same backup. Our policy states that they should at least go through the academy before we let them out on the fire line. And you know, that talking to several other, I can tell you, Little Valley, there's 5. I talked to that chief, and there's 5 volunteers. None of them have ever been firefighters. None of them, they meet once a month and have coffee. And
Yeah.
when there's an emergency, they're there.
Same with Doyle, Milford.
You know, no, Milford has trains. Janesville's volunteers are all have trainings every week. Susanville has trains. Lake Forest has trains.
You have to leave Susanville out of the mix. They're not a district. They're away from us.
What?
I'm talking about fire districts.
Yeah, well, these are all fire districts, and there's Susanville City and there's Susanville City volunteers. So there's 2 separate there. But anyway, there's a lot of training that's going on trying to keep up with their firefighters so that if there is an emergency, this can happen. But you know, whether you guys, like I said last month, you know, Chief at one point, Chief Whitehead said, you know, let's put on full gear and do a lap on the track once a year to make sure that people are fit. You know, there was a list, and I thought I had it in this agenda. I know I had it on last month's agenda. That they just check off. Basically, they do a pulse. You pass or fail with your gear.
Yeah.
And
who determines whether they pass or fail?
They didn't have a heart attack going around the front.
Yeah, they crossed the.
Amen.
The guy didn't make it. So,
I think that's a simple way. I think we're getting, you know, making it too big.
Yeah.
We gotta get going.
yeah.
We gotta make it as simple as possible for these people that are volunteering. They don't have to jump a bunch of hoops. So I like to see us just get rid of it totally. You know,
The what?
the physical part of it.
Yeah. Well,
then you worry
We're
about
wasting time.
your liability.
Sure.
If something happens to somebody that has not had any training and you let them,
I'm not saying that, Sandy.
okay.
Just that one part. The only thing they should have to be qualified for is go to the doctor and the doctor says, you're good to go. And that's good.
Issues.
That's it. That's all it should be. Now, the question is, are they gonna pay for it or are we gonna pay for it?
Well.
See, that's the issue.
No, and we don't have a policy saying that. So if that's something that you guys want to
Well,
bring.
let's get it done. Today, we're talking about it. What do you think?
Well, should
Well-
we put more energy though into getting us firemen who volunteer? We put a lot of energy in giving them restrictions, but we don't put much energy in what are we gonna do to get more volunteers?
Right.
I haven't heard us talk about that at all.
I think Jim said something about knocking on doors one time.
Yeah.
I think it should be in the newsletter, everything, and say if you volunteer and give them the example. That what training they can get, blah, blah, blah. So somebody might say, I might be interested in that down in the future. It might benefit them, you know, if they ever apply for a regular fire thing, you know, if there's a job opening like on the base or something, they got some training, they got some experience.
I've done that in the past and we advertised volunteer fire department for probably 10 months. In our newsletter, it's just been the last couple of newsletters that we haven't advertised the volunteer fire
Yeah, but
department.
if I'm not mistaken, you just say we need volunteer fire department. So
No, I've gone into detail like you're saying, if you can get free training. I can go back to newsletter in the last couple of years showing that. And we can do that again.
But instead of just say training, what the training is. They see something like, they're gonna learn how to use the hose, drive the truck.
We've
You know, but
even,
some people go just
we've
drive the
even
truck.
offers free EMT training that we'd pay for, because that, 95% of our medical, or our calls are medical. So we've even offered free EMT training that we'll pay for their books and if they go to the class once a month or once a week.
Well, the thing is, we can't give up. There's no such thing as giving up. So, I mean, we talk about it, we're talking negative, let's start talking positive. So let's get started. And Jim, if you ever want to do that knocking on doors type thing,
Real quick. I'd like 2 volunteers, John and myself, to sit down one day and put together a flyer that says, join the volunteer fire department. We will train you in CPR, first aid,
that's what I would.
send you to the academy. And all is required is an application and a doctor's certificate saying that you are fit, that you are not going to have a heart attack when you get on the truck. Okay, and so it'll take a few minutes, an hour, 2 hours to put together that flyer and then have somebody, Barbara, and if you want to attend, that's fine too. But if we do that, set the fire, then we go to the high school and we get a bunch of the kids. And we did this before, you got a bunch of the kids and have them canvass all of our district on the doors. And then the information number, and then and as a matter of fact, Barbara, you know what we need. You could find a little bit of time and charge it to the fire department.
You okay that with the rest of the
Well,
board?
I know, but I'm just kidding. I don't want to
Right,
side.
We can put together a
What's this
flyer.
part? She's in the fire district, right?
Yeah. Pretty close.
She can volunteer. That's pretty good.
I will.
No.
I will.
No,
absolutely
because I want,
commit to-
it. You can do PowerPoint, right? Okay, so based on what I just said. And then the only requirement is that for right now, you get a fill out the application, you get accepted by the GM or whomever, and Mike should be involved in this too, on the selection, and it comes to the board. So if you could come up with a flyer for next month that we can all approve. So I would like to make a motion that Miss Barbara Lee, district clerk, put together a flyer for the next meeting to distribute amongst for approval. And
Who's paying for the document standards? We had that question.
color would be good.
Mr. Board President,
You're John.
Hear what
John said?
Who's gonna pay for it?
Over.
I'm sorry, Mr. Board President.
Hey, you
For this one, I would suggest just merely having board direction. It's not really something that should be voted on because it's not agendized specifically. But board direction is fine.
We're trying
I
to
can't
turn
hear
the
you.
volume up
Is he
real.
talking?
That's what I was trying to
He's
do.
trying.
Just a sec.
Hey, Jim John had a question for you.
Let the lawyer speak first. He's telling us.
Mike, can you speak one more time, please?
Yes, what I was suggesting is anything for our our clerk, can be done simply by board direction. It's not agendized as an actual action item, but direction can be given just the same.
Is that you don't need to make you don't have to have. You don't have to vote on it, you can give directions, so you
Well,
can
he's trying
give,
to explain something.
so you can,
That's what he's
you,
Well, the board has to act as a whole to give direction. You know that. No independent, I can't give you direction, can't give you direction.
But what
the
did he
board
just
gives
say?
direction.
Okay, is the volume up?
Yeah.
Try talking again, sir.
Volume's all the way up.
Jim just turned it all the way up.
Jim turned it all the way up.
Can you say one word, Mike, so we can see how loud you are?
Can you hear me?
barely.
It's horrible, it's horrible.
Really? I apologize for that. Is it any better right here?
Put it on a phone call.
Yeah.
Or you can get one
It
of
might be
those
better.
bars that you can leave TV, but increase the volume.
We need now, for resolution now, not.
Okay, so anyway,
Wait a second, maybe Alan's loud,
We're gonna try something.
because he's a tech guy.
Oh, that was better. That
testing 1, 2, 3.
was much better. Okay,
Can you
try
hear
that
me
again.
now?
No.
One more time,
Sir,
Mike.
can you talk?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
No?
It's better.
Oh, it is. Okay, good.
Okay.
Anyway, yes, Mr. Board President, you're correct. Direction must come from the entire board, but I would suggest taking care of it that way instead of a formal motion.
Do what?
Taking care of it.
As a motion.
No, as direction instead of a formal motion,
Okay.
because we didn't have it agendized that way.
So the board agrees to the direction.
Yes.
Okay. Does the board agree with that direction?
I agree.
Everybody agree? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Barbara.
John,
Yeah, John.
I'm pretty relative.
John.
I had a question that's a good one.
Who's gonna pay for the doctor and what standards are they gonna use? Because we had that question before and we couldn't get an answer. So that's something that we gotta come up with an answer for, so that it can't be each individual's doctor. It's gotta be standards that we present to the doctor and say they must meet this. Do they meet this?
No.
Because it does.
No,
But Mr. President.
You can't just say, can you tell me whether this guy's gonna have a heart attack or not?
well,
Because I'm working with James every week and he'll run circles around anybody out here and he's got a pacemaker and he's not having a heart attack.
Uh-huh,
So
yeah,
what are the standards? We have to present that to the doctor to say this is what they need to meet. Unless there's a specific test that you can do.
Okay.
Having worked at the health clinic for a whole lot of years and having done physical exams on the firefighters on the depot once a year. It was a once a year thing with us. The occupational health physicians are trained to do the proper exam for every job exposure on that depot, and the fire department is one of those job exposures. So those occupational health physicians know what they should be looking at as far as doing the physical on a person who is a
Okay,
firefighter.
so we're gonna make the same standards for a regular federal firefighter or a city firefighter that we are with a volunteer. Is that what
No,
you're
He's
saying?
the same kind of doctor.
No.
Just a different kind of doctor.
all you gotta do is I go to my physician on an annual basis and he does specific to me. And he says, okay, you can be a firefighter. Your doctor does what's specific to you and says, you look, yes, you can fight fires if you want to. And so on. Each person's physician. Or we can go to an occupational health doctor, and I'm sure there's some in Reno,
There is.
that would, under volunteer status, is he able to fight fire?
So, hey,
And then that doctor says, under this criteria, if your heart's good, your lungs are good, your cholesterol's good, your blood work's good, everything's fine with you, and you're good to go, then that's what you should go with.
Because he's gonna ask you if there's any pre-existing conditions when you walk through the door.
Right,
And he's gonna go, okay, I gotta check this out, because his heart is wacky,
right.
or his toenails are bleeding, or whatever.
So I think what we need to do is find an occupational health doctor. Are there any in Susanville?
There might be at the clinic, but I would go with you,
Okay. If we could find a occupational health doctor in Reno. And then anybody that goes there, we pay for. And if the doctor, based on his examination, sees fit that he can fight fires, and we tell him this is for a volunteer firefighter. So. We'll go that route. So is that good direction, Sandy?
I think so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Quick question to you. What would high cholesterol have to do with whether or not they could fight fire?
Well, it's a high cholesterol causes coronary.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because like my husband's got high borderline
Yeah.
and he'll outwork
Well, I
most
mean,
20-year-olds.
it doesn't matter what your cholesterol is. The doctor says if your husband can fight a fire in his condition with his blood work and everything that you give him, then
It's like a sports physical for high school then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me give
Same
you,
thing.
let me give you one example, Jim, and then you can tell me to shut up.
Okay.
If I go to my doctor, his mantra, in your personal opinion, do you think I could fight a fire without dying?
I wouldn't have a clue. Your doctor would have to clear you on that.
Did I run around the lap with the gear on?
Well, if your doctor says you can participate, then you can participate.
My doctor's mantra is your cholesterol is below optimum. I've got great cholesterol. You're healthy as a horse. All your blood work's perfectly normal, but you're fat and you're gonna die. That's literally what he says.
You know
What do
why?
you say?
Let me tell you
We're all
why.
gonna die.
Because if he gives you a stress test,
I did EKG.
no, not
stress
an
test.
EKG, stress
No.
test.
Oh, good.
If your heart can withstand a
If
stress
he says
test,
yes, you can do it, then you can do it.
Is there gonna be a difference between somebody that would be the EMT versus somebody that's an actual firefighter?
we have one
Yeah.
person on our fire department who could work as a medical, but could not work as a fire person because of their physical condition.
Okay, so, and what did, I'm sorry,
No. I just say, we're out thinking it again. Let's
okay,
just do it. Move on.
Okay, so we'll move on. That's covers that. And now we go to Shaw Engineering.
Evening, guys.
Hello.
So as you know, we have the ongoing street cross project at the wastewater treatment plant under design right now. Last month, Director Lee requested that I put together a summary report for you guys, showing us the two manufacturers for this piece of equipment. So that's been provided in the board packet. It's not a third decision on the agenda, but I wanted to see if you guys have a question and happy to provide information and then summarize what's in the report.
I have one. Where are the two manufacturers? Where are they manufactured? In the USA or?
It actually has it.
One's
One's Canada and one's the United States.
Well, it says United States, Japan.
Yeah, so one of them, they said that
Oh,
some of the components were sourced out of Japan, which I presume is the computer chip. There is a computer module in this piece of equipment. Bring up on chips that are made in the United States.
What about the steel? Like, is that from the United States?
For which one?
Well, the one for 500,000. That's, to me, that's American made.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I care about. Components, we know we don't do it. It's either Taiwan or Japan, and those guys are way ahead of us, you know? But when it comes down to nuts and bolts, we're still good at that.
So my question was, is either of them made in China? Okay,
One of them's being manufactured in the United States, one of them's manufactured.
okay. The other thing I have, when manufacturers, and this is a general question, when manufacturers make something, and so let's say these fuse, for instance, do they give a date,
Shelf life.
shelf life date? Yeah, so within 10 years, you should be looking at a new screw, or based on our GPM, one's what, 50% and the other one's 25%.
Yeah, so they typically don't provide a shelf life because it opens it up to liability. Every wastewater treatment plant is different in terms of the strength of their wastewater as well as the flow.
Right.
They typically don't offer a shelf life, but they do have a recommended maintenance schedule
Yeah,
when you go in.
that's what I'm looking
So
for.
if it can be rebuilt, we rebuilt it until the frame rusted away and all that bullshit. And if you can place a crank and nut, whatever, you replace it until the manufacturer's body of it deteriorates.
That's right, yeah, that's where we're at right now, not quite deteriorating, but we're able to find parts for it.
Right.
So, with the current piece of equipment. But with this one, yeah, they have.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. When we did the, water and wastewater project this year for One Time Village. And it was a loan in a grant, but I guess what I want to know is, they said we had to buy American made on the project, the entire project, American made. Okay. So to me, I think we should stay with America made. And it's just, I mean, to me, it's, you know what I mean? We should stay and buy our stuff in America. That's the way I feel.
Well, yeah.
This is-
I would like to make a comment on that. The way I approach this is, what can we get for the budget that we have? We're very budget constrained, budget conscious. We want to make sure we're spending right. So with these two options, they're not the same. The one that's manufactured in Canada has twice their capacity of the one that's made in the United States. And the one that's made in the United States is more expensive. So I do want to make that known before a decision is made. Obviously, it's made tonight. But, you know.
I did want to ask in regards to that, because like I noticed here that the outlet is 5 inches and the outlet is 6 inches on the American made. But the inlet is 2 inches and the inlet is 4 inches. So there were a couple of things that I was wondering, because of the differences, how that then impacted the output. So that, and really, this is 25 gallons per minute and then 52 gallons per minute. How many gallons do we usually do per minute?
So I believe we're at 16 GPM right now with the current setup, but
Oh,
this,
And doesn't it take us like 3 days to do the project, to do 60 gallons per minute?
exactly, it restricts Royce, so Royce spends 2 days out of these 5 days, 8-hour days at the plant where he could be spending that on the wells, or the tank, or the booster gas station, the system, the hydrants.
And then the other question too is, this has the 25 GPM, the ability to, well, it has number of drums, it has only 1, whereas this other one has 2. And that also affects the output. And then it also has a capacity for 7,500 with the Canada one and only 7,000 with the American one. And oh, and the other thing that I thought was the load out conveyor belt. Where does the load out conveyor belt go to?
So with the current setup we have right now, I think I've described this in the past. The current piece of equipment deposits the sludge into a tractor body. Then Morris has to tend to bring it over to the dumpster. Takes a lot of effort. With the loadout conveyor, this would come out of the side of the building into a dumpster that sits on the side of the building. So let's press the button, go and do his tasks around the treatment plant that he has to, and he's not having to sit there and tend to it. And so it's, yeah, saving on efficiency for sure, and all that efficiency there.
That's what I'm trying.
And it's another 47,000.
It said, once the president starts to come out, they say you can just throw it in a field and you can roll it up, it's used as fertilizer, is that correct?
That is correct to an extent. However, there needs to be additional treatment processes. Because we don't do any sort of disinfection, we can't be introducing pathogens.
Yeah.
This was a large part of the study that we had back in the day. We used a big component of, we call it land application. So you're not necessarily applying it to crops for human consumption, but you can apply it to kind of a guarded area where you're not having to pay $5,000 a month to haul out the lot with hose.
But I mean, but the thing with doing that too, if we had a space where we kept dumping it and dumping it and dumping it, it's not really fertilizer anymore, is it? It's more like a sanitation problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless
So,
you-
I mean, you can't just keep dumping it every week on the same.
Well, yeah,
lot.
no,
I mean,
Yeah.
how,
well, you'd have to roll it till it,
But, you know.
but it can be done so that it's in, you know.
If we had that,
It's-
the other system where it would sanitize the pathogens, you could do that then.
Yeah, so that was a little bit of part of the master plan. I think the whole idea is reducing the amount of sludge we have with back there, or with digester, or rubber digester, entirely different conversation. But that is a possibility that's been looked to in the past, is land application and sludge.
Yeah,
Sandy has a question.
yes.
So I was just gonna refresh, like Felix's memory and stuff too. So when we first started the biosolids and processing them into the drying bed, Stall Ranch in Litchfield used to take them. You could use that, like Owen is saying, for in crops that we're not eating. So horses, if you're doing hay, you could put it on the crops, grow hay, but it would have to be the horses that are not for consumption, human consumption.
Not for cattle.
Yeah, so you can't, he couldn't have any cattle or anything that was for consumption around. Unfortunately, you know, they moved on. That hasn't happened. We were now processing twice as much as we did, because I used to take, you know, when we first started, it was like one or two loads a month, and now we do two loads of almost a week. But anyway, so it's a lot going over there. The other lost my train, sorry. This is going to lessen the amount, and it'll just with this, so if you go with the American made one, you're gonna, if you want to have the same option, which would lessen our time at the plant, you're gonna spend another $50,000. So this, if you're looking at one compared to two, American made compared to Canada, the Canada one isn't only just $50,000 cheaper, it's also plus the 47,000. So it's almost $100,000 cheaper to install it than is the American made one. But besides the fact that we also have more consumption, because this board has directed me to make sure that we have enough. So if we end up with Section 8 and on that we grow, that this same screw press can still do the job.
Okay.
So
Well, I would be,
That's
I
a very
would
good
to change because it's not China. I don't want, you know, that's the bottom line too. So now that I know it's Canadian, I'm flexible. They're a good ally.
well, I can tell you that our headworks is from France. So when it comes to our poop plant, there's certain countries that actually do things better than the United States. Steel is one of the wonderful things that
And we do.
we do, Felix, and I appreciate you bringing that up. But I did not agendize it for a decision tonight. So if you guys want to reflect on this, and we can bring it back next month
Yeah,
for.
let's get started on it, right?
Yeah.
I got two questions.
Okay.
One, when we built that plant, that I recall, when we built it for the future. Pat, I thought Pat anticipated like putting, stuff in the ground. Already, so it was there already, so when we upgraded the city, we got bigger. The infrastructure was there. It's not there?
No, Don Armstrong, when they actually built the plant and architected, there are spots for another clarifier, there are spots for a digester. Some of the items are in the ground and already plumbed. But that's back from when Don Armstrong was our engineer and our GM.
Yeah, but they hadn't started building he died before we started building.
No, Don was here when we built the
When
plant.
we built the plant?
Yes.
So
Yeah, so there's pipes in the ground.
ground and stuff. So that's gonna save us some money, right? Cause it's prefab.
Yeah, with this project, there will be very minimal earthwork required. It's almost pull out the old one, it's up on an elevated structure and pull it out.
Okay.
Which one has the conveyor belt?
They both have the option for the conveyor belt. It's just an option that incurs more costs on the district.
It sounds like from an OSHA standpoint, it would be a lot better for whoever's working out there.
Absolutely.
As I understand those things are real heavy. And probably a conveyor belt would be good.
Plus they smell better than you know.
Yeah, are you gonna put it on the agenda for next week?
Yes,
I mean, next month?
yes, to make the
Okay.
decision and then, so basically, if you guys vote on which one, then Owen can go forward with doing the bid documents and putting it out to bid, correct?
So should the educated, dude around here. Which one, with all your knowledge, you suggest this board look at, or give us
Focus on.
to focus on?
The cheaper alternative. And not because
What?
it's cheaper.
Canadian made.
Because you get more bang for your buck. I think it's a better use of the community's funds. They're both. And there were other alternatives that I didn't even present here because I didn't believe that they were well represented in this area. I presented these two options because I've worked with both manufacturer representatives and they're responsive. So, I don't want to.
That's a good point right there.
You guys.
Why can't we not, why do we want to agendize it next month? Just go forward with what the cheaper one and move on. I mean, we're gonna
Well,
beat
and you
this
still, do you
thing.
think by next month you'll have which company to go with for the construction? To
Oh.
discuss?
So that one's gonna have to go to public bid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's a little further off, still in the design phase, but once we have this nailed down, we'll be able to go full steam ahead and then we can get the bidding process going.
Yes.
I just was curious, you mentioned distributing.
Down, Jim.
Waste into the ground, or making sanitization of said to make it more fit for human consumption rates, or is that just something that?
Prevent the spread of pathogens.
Right, but we won't be doing that.
So it's been an idea that's been brought up in the past. It's up to the board whether or not you want to pursue that idea, likely not with this project. It's something that's done around the country.
Yeah, I was wondering if that would incur an extra cost. Okay,
And
we have to truck it out, so that would save us a little bit of money, where we could just take it out and tap it.
Yep.
So I got a couple of bonds in Title IX, you can take it to right now.
I'm sure they could.
So in the past, we had looked at we had partnered with the college. Because we were looking at doing a sprinkler system out there at the plant and being able to raise our own alfalfa and use that there. Unfortunately, the college was even writing, they were gonna do a class just on sprinkler repair and use ours as an example and work out here, and nothing has ever followed through.
I went to that, they wanted, us to pay for it. But they wanted to
To use us.
use it and that kind of stuff, and if there's a yield, they would get it, so they keep the plastic.
Right.
So that's why it's done. So we can't tell them, you can't start looking at it, ordering it, or, be ready to do the pick, start doing the paper, we say, we want this one. So you can start, get the ball going, then we just vote it in next month.
So why do we need to vote it? We can vote it now.
I'm good to go.
You know, the other question I have, if in the future we wanted to do that with mulching in and whatever, could that be, does that have to be from the initial installation or can that be added in the future?
I would have to look into it a little bit more. It was flying off my radar in terms of, importance. I don't think of this in front of you guys, but if that's something you guys are really interested in and land upon.
Well,
Yeah, because in
fuel ain't going down.
10 years, we may be able to afford that.
That's what I'm saying, it might be cheaper to invest in what you said. Because fuel costs all the way to Reno is gonna cost a lot of dollars.
Yeah,
You know,
so
Cause that guy's not putting gas in California, he's putting gas in Nevada,
We,
and they're about $1.50 cheaper.
we
Right.
pay one lump sum to CNS
So-
Waste.
do I have a motion to go with, which one is it, Trident?
Canadian.
Trident?
I make a motion that we buy the Trident. I think,
I didn't even get.
I know, let's keep going.
So, okay, you make the motion that we go with Trident. And then do I have a second?
I say,
Okay, all in favor,
aye.
motion carried.
I apologize, I can't stick around with the rest.
It's okay.
Thank you very much, guys.
Have a good evening, drive careful.
Yeah, be safe. I'm lucky of it too. Thank you for your time. I'll see you soon.
Okay, good evening, people.
Bye, neighbor.
Okay.
You have to raise your hand.
She wants to find it, right?
You make a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Yeah.
She's gonna make a motion if we don't let her go.
And we already know my opinion, so.
Yeah, we're on the clock.
What is she doing?
She gotta go potty.
Honey,
You didn't ask for a recess?
it was one of those, you got to go.
So
A motion to recess so that people can use the potty. Do I hear a second?
Oh, take it too long.
You're saying that with no, the policy, feeling is more important than no.
No, I'm not saying that, if we last longer. China doesn't, see, I'm a machinist, okay, and I worked on nuclear submarines, okay? No, but I mean, I was in a shop, I got out of the boat, but we had to do,
Too, so.
parts and stuff, tools and stuff like that, our commercials were, the Navy got us, wanted to get up, they started at 5,000, that's as far as you could be out of tolerance. Then they got, some engineer got cocky, then they wanted us to, try to say, well, we wanted dead nuts. They wanted zero, they wanted it perfect. Well, you put any metal in your hand, okay, it'll go up 2,000s just from the heat of your hand. So when we're doing that, what we did is we went and put it in the freezer. So when they came in, we'd get that tall. So I mean, Japan, they don't, I don't think they know what a go, no-go gauge is. Half the time they, a ball won't fix the nut, you know?
They get themselves together with it, last.
I've never seen it.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what they're doing now. Native America.
What is Americans paying them to make manufacture our thing?
Yeah.
You know, they don't care. Don't worry about it. It's going to America. Now, did they do a good job? They'll go and know how to use the gate for their stuff they're building? Probably.
Yeah.
You good to go?
Sandy,
in a second,
Sandy's gotta,
Sandy will be back.
she had to step out too.
Haven't picked it like that.
Turn the lights off, Jim.
Well, we could upgrade our lighting.
You could upgrade the lighting, but for one person that needs it dark, and I like it, don't get me wrong, you're gonna have 20 people that say, we need the lights.
Yeah, but they,
Well, let me finish. we got the poles, so we don't need the poles. So all we have to do is look at the lighting, new lighting like the Rancheria has or the prison has. See how much it would cost just to replace the ones we got. And then we could apply for a grant through this or to one of the federal agencies to improve our lighting. And that's something we can look at in the future.
Well, we don't know, we don't own it.
The
The,
lights.
no, we don't.
No, we
It's
don't.
Plymouth Sierra
We
Rural
rent it.
Electric.
Huh?
It's Plymouth Sierra Rural Electric. They
Yeah,
change
yeah.
out the.
Yeah, so we can work with PERSEC and say we want.
Yes, ask them, can you tone it down with the, like, they put a LED of mine when my bulb went up. And it's not that like a white. It's got a, it's just, but it's white, but it's not that harsh white, they call it. I don't know what they do in your light bulb. You can buy like light bulb, different light colors that are white, they're cut out light.
Yeah, but I mean,
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, me, good. Can we go back to the agenda?
That's what I knew she was gonna say.
what is it, our agenda? Anyway,
Okay,
okay, next one. Okay, go ahead. You're on 50/60, right? You're the one,
I very much like Mr. Linden's, advice on keeping it for 2 years.
for the Zoom.
For the Zoom. Yeah.
I disagree.
Okay.
I think we should keep them for 5. No, I'm serious.
I could
Yeah.
support that too.
Because, you know, when she retires and stuff, we won't have any records. Okay, wait a minute, we got the minutes, okay? And right now, I was gonna ask you, where are the minutes, at? Where, you know,
My office,
all of them,
all of them.
all of these are in your office?
Yes,
For the
sir.
last, how many years have we
Since
had?
08, since we became a district.
Really? Good, that's what I wanted to hear.
And when I took over 4 years ago, I went through and took my personal packets.
Huh?
And I actually went back to all my personal packets, so they not only have minutes, but probably for the last 7 or 8 years, I have the whole packets.
Perfect, that's what I wanted to
But
hear.
you have them hard copy, right?
They're all hard copy, yes.
Right, so what would
They're in
prevent
binders.
us from start scanning the stuff and putting it on a USB? And then, maintain.
Time and energy,
Huh?
just time and energy.
Well, we got
She's-
these people in the office, so.
But
Jim, we're being recorded right now, okay? So what we say here now, she's gonna take it and then I'm assuming you go listen to it and then she makes the minutes. So if something's wrong, if anything's wrong, we have checks and balances. We got something digital and we make sure that when the district clerk did the minutes, she did it correctly. And we have, well, wait a minute, that's not right. Well, let's get out the USB and you can listen to it and put what we're challenging you that's in the minutes. See what I'm saying? To me, it's a backup. They're that big, they hold 4 meetings, Sandy?
You can get the different ones.
Can you?
Yeah.
Okay,
Depends on the gigabyte.
We figure 4, and then so we'd have to have 3 a year. 3 to put away in the safe,
Right.
that big,
Yeah, I
for
know.
backup.
I know that. But what I was saying was, she just walked in with all these binders with what?
That's just this year's board packets.
Yeah, so if we're gonna keep the board package, why don't we scan them and then put them on a USB? Why not?
You can. I like my hard copy. I'm an old auditor. I like paper.
Yeah, but look at how much space you're taking up there.
I like paper.
Yeah, but we gotta reduce cost.
I can tell you that our,
That increases.
That's
cost.
more money to do that than put them on a USB.
well, I have to do it for you guys unless you all want USBs.
Sandy,
No, I don't want.
I think the attorney wants to say something.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, Mr. Board President. Just to go back to the original recommendation, the 2 years was really a minimal level. That's just a general rule for document retention. Generally, I would agree with Director Harris that 5 years is better. If you look at different agencies or cities or counties, sometimes they'll have recordings going back 10 years right on their website. I don't think you need to do that at all, but 5 years certainly seems reasonable as a good practice for a district like this.
Well, and if we're gonna keep the Zooms, then we would, for transparency purpose, have at least a year, possibly 2 on the website, so you could watch them whenever you wanted to.
Sounds good. I make a motion that we keep the Zooms for
2 years.
5 years, 5 years. And before they're destroyed, make sure you let the board know that 5 years are up, we're gonna start liquidating or erase them, because they're still gonna be good unless.
The attorney says 2.
No,
He's
he
just
turned
buzzing.
it down.
He's trying to, we make the decision.
Go ahead, wait a
not the
minute.
attorney.
Hey,
He's just trying to
He's
talk.
talking, go ahead, do you have something to say?
He's trying to explain
Yes.
something to you.
I don't believe this was agendized as an action item. What I would suggest
Yes, it is.
is I can, work with our general manager to bring back a policy with the, as you just described, and then they could be approved by the board at the next meeting.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say, it is agendized with review and possible action on changing or accepting this policy. So if we approved it with the changes of 5 years, I still would bring it back next meeting with the copy for the board.
So I second that motion.
I stand corrected. Thank you. Yes, it does say possible action, which is sufficient.
Okay.
So if you want to approve it as it is with stated changes, you can, or it can be brought back. It's the pleasure of the board on that.
Yes, sir. I second Felix's motion to, keep the Zooms for 5 years.
I'll second that motion.
Why?
Well, you
I was
seconded
second.
him.
Yeah. You want to be third?
No, that's good.
Okay,
That's
All right.
Zoom meeting. What about?
that wasn't something that is on the agenda to discuss or
So,
vote on.
Director Reed, so if the attorney and I work with the wording on it for 2 years, you would accept it, or 5 years, sorry, I wrote 5. We can make those changes to the agenda, to the thing with your approval.
Oh, yes, yes.
Thank you.
And I was only seconding what Felix had said.
So what's the motion?
The motion is that Felix said, he motions that we keep the Zoom meetings for 5 years. And I seconded that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, so we're on the lead now.
So 2 months ago, we actually had a hearing with the public and no public members came forward to disagree with those liens. But unfortunately, the last 2 board meetings, according to Public Utilities Code, we have to have a minimum of 3 even if there's 3, as in the quorum, all 3 would have to be decisive. And unfortunately, in August, we had 3, but we were 2-1. So it did not pass. Last month, President Switzerus asked for us to table that till this month so that we could rectify whatever the board wishes on this. So that's still up for considering the past due liens.
Can you distinguish, are they investors that are renting out their homes and they're not paying for it, or is it residents or community residents that are not paying the tax?
The majority is our investors.
And I would say both. I mean, our one landlord locally does not pay his fire taxes. And then we have a lot of the ones down in the valley, which would take all of us to put out a fire there do not pay their fire taxes. And we've,
You're
since,
talking flats?
yes,
You mean the flats?
yes.
They don't pay their fire taxes?
Well, he was asking how many people
Oh.
had liens. And
There's some
most
down
of
there.
them are the flats or are one landlord.
Go ahead.
I'm trying to figure out how to say this. without getting too much. The person who has not paid and doesn't pay and is allegedly using other sources to keep from paying. Could we get our attorney to attack that issue for us?
When he has actually purchased homes that go through escrow, our liens have paid off and we've gotten our money back. When he unfortunately, he told me that now his family has their own escrow and their own loan company. So he has been doing stuff with his own loan company and not going through normal escrow procedures. So when that happens, then when he acquires property, it doesn't get relinquished. But according to Measure A, it doesn't matter who lives there. The fire tax stays with the property.
Mhm.
So, and if you guys remember, we actually reprieved a small dollar amount about 3 years ago for people that moved in and didn't know about it and got stuck with a fire tax that the people prior owned it. And so we actually forgave a very small dollar amount to 5 or 6 people. But now, they're all there. Myself and Trish both had contacted all the real estate agents. They all know Chicago Title. If it goes through Chicago Title, Becky's really good about always calling me and saying, hey, is there any liens on these places? Do they owe any utilities? So that's where we've collected quite a bit. As long as they go through our local title company, they always double check the liens.
So Sam is the one who got his own. Well,
Somebody that looks like him anyway.
I would
Somebody that
say,
looks like
I
him.
would say that we go forward.
I agree.
And get the money we can, and then we'll deal with Sam later.
Yeah.
So they're all investors.
And again, that might, after we get it passed, everything. Hand that one part off to our lawyer. And I always thought when you went through escrow, any escrow. If there's a lien against it, that lien's gotta be paid off before that transaction goes through.
And that's where we've caught him on, is when he goes through those escrows. It's when he's buying, when it gets bought on the county yard, a county lot, the county takes the money first and we get whatever's left. But because we have a lien, we get what's ever left. It may not be the full dollar amount of the lien, but it will be what is ever left.
And it helps our fire department.
But, honestly, in the last 4 years, with doing this, we've collected probably $45,000 in taxes from liens that we put on places that we would have never got.
Right.
And I mean, that's almost 1 full year of income for, for the fire department. So all it is, I mean, it costs us for the liens, it cost us to notarize it, but it does help keep the lights on for the fire department.
Right, but now.
And you guys already approved the fire tax in 07. Everybody knows about the fire tax, so it really doesn't make any, it can't.
So what we can do though is if that individual's property catches fire and he doesn't want to pay the fire tax, we have to put the fire out. But we can bill them,
We don't have any power to bill them.
but then we need to get power.
So, right.
We have power to bill for water and sewer and fire taxes, so, I mean, we can put together
That's why we have fire taxes that's
Right,
a
but-
legal document that we can actually receive money to help fund our volunteer fire department.
right, but he's using loopholes to not pay his fire taxes on his properties. we still have to put the fire out. But we can put together a billing and charge them for man hours.
That was his church we just put the fire out of.
Huh?
That building was his, the church down there was
Well,
Sam's.
yeah, I know.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, was he paying, is he owing money on that building? Or that would lien? That he's not paying?
Most likely. I can't tell you
Well-
for sure, but I'd have to look it up.
We need to find, we need, like
Well,
Jim said.
I don't understand, I don't understand when you say we don't have them, we can't bill them.
We don't have any ordinance, we don't have any measure that says that we have that ability to do that.
Why don't we get it done?
We
Let's
can
make
make
it,
one.
get it on the agenda next week.
I mean, we can do it, right? Miss Mike, is it? We can do that, can't we?
That is something I would have to look into. I can't give you an answer right now that I know is absolutely correct, but yeah, it does raise a point. And you have a relatively small fire area with a parcel tax, and a parcel tax not being, paid by somebody who, okay, what remedy is possibly available to a district like ours in that situation? I can research that and bring it back.
Yeah, I would like to see that because there's gotta be a way, because if he's using his escrow company or his loan company or whatever he's got down there to circumvent our fire taxes, then that's not fair.
agree with that. I agree with you.
You know, I think there should be some way to reduce it. So anyway, going ahead, I think we should go ahead and vote on this and move forward with getting this money that we so desperately need in the fire department. So I would like to make a motion that we move forward with the fire tax claims as soon as possible.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Do we have to have a voice vote or no?
Thank you.
Hey, as far as Sam's properties, just tell Mike Price that I'm living there, he won't answer.
Huh?
Just tell Mike Price that I'm living at one of those properties, he won't answer the call.
He's got to. I mean, he would be working no longer at the fire department if he did that. How do you do this? Okay, so GM report.
I know you're on 12.
Well,
Huh?
discussion, just the challenge page 4, page 4.
Oh,
No, that's number 12. Second page.
I didn't have any backup for those. But those were what the items that Director Flores asked for, so that it's on the agenda with number 12.
Oh, that's the, uh-huh.
Oh, we got 12. Okay, number 12. So. Do we charge board members for information?
Yeah, that's the problems going on. We only get between that we're both available. From on Fridays for 4 hours. Okay. They get here at 7 o'clock in the morning. What time do you get here, Sandy?
On Fridays, we're here from 8 to 12.
From 8 to 12. Okay, so then we get dressed, have our breakfast and stuff. An hour, maybe a little longer. So to do our business, we only got like 2 hours. So we've been asking for thumb drives. I've asked for paper. Okay, written paper. And we're getting charged for it. We're doing H-Bud's business as board of directors that were obligated to do when we took our oath. I don't see why she's charging us, the board, doing board H-Bud's work. The charges for the resources we need to get the job done. The board should not have to pay because we are either taking notes or something when we review, we audit the books, stuff like that. Or we get something to review at home. And then we get, what did you get charged, $15?
Not really 1750.
$17.50 for a thumb drive, we can give back.
No,
She
no,
can-
no, that wasn't the.
Oh, that was
the-
paper.
The
That was
thumb drive
paper.
was only $4.
$4 for paper that we needed. We, you know,
So on the thumb drive, I gave you both options that you guys could bring your own thumb drive. Otherwise, that was the cost to the district. I was worried about using public funds to do your thumb drives. You were both advised if you wanted to bring your own thumb drive in, I
That's
could
not
make the
the point.
copies.
we are an elected official doing our due diligence by watching over you. With looking at the books, looking at numbers, where you at, are you on leave, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we are doing district business, not personal business.
So then I would suggest that we do a policy for the board because we've never had any policy that says that the board, like you're saying, you're considering, I would consider that if you guys are bringing it back to the board, then in a no pay would go on, but you guys were basically making copies and it was never seen back in an agenda for the rest of the board to see. So I have no clue where that information went to, except for assuming that it was for your personal backup and for your own information.
It's doing research.
But
If we find something
if
wrong,
somebody else
when we're
asks me
doing our
for a
research,
question,
it'll come up on
if,
one of our items.
if anybody else asks for copies, we would charge them. That is the board policy, is to charge for copies. I'm doing what my policy says. If this is something that you guys would like to see or that you feel that needs to be done, then I suggest we do a policy so that I have that to go by. I don't have a problem with not charging you. I just didn't want to get in trouble for wasting public funds.
I've never heard of that before. I've been in a lot of places. When an elected official or he's on the board, when he needs to accomplish what he's responsible for, then you give it to him. And then, because like I just said, you guys go, we only have 2 hours, and then you guys go home. You leave at 3 o'clock, so you can't even come in, because she doesn't get off till 5. Okay, so we do stuff together, a way to work on stuff, you know? Like the contracts could have come up for the project. Okay, that took a lot of work. Okay, to find answers. And then you turn around and charge us and stuff. That's not right. It's the same thing. Sandy?
I didn't charge you, sir. The district, I never received any money and went back into the funds of what it would cost the district to present those to
For
you.
15 years, I was president of this place. And we never charged anybody except the people who put in for information requests. If the board needs something, the board got it. And then all of a sudden now you're saying that we're taking the government funds.
I'm,
No. Well, we have a policy that you're following, correct?
I am, we have a policy of what things cost, and I was just, I'm sorry. I don't know what previous GMs did, charging you or not charging you. When you asked for something, I gave you the option on the thumb drive. The paper, I charged you what we would charge everybody. Otherwise, you could have said, hey, I need these pages, and can you bring them back into a board packet? And I wouldn't have it any, but like you said, it's not me charging you, it's the district charging, and the district got the money instead of the use of
But I'm not
public
stating that,
funds.
that policy you're talking about is when somebody puts in information request. That's what it is.
No, we have fees that we have,
Yes,
we
that's
have,
what I'm
we have a
saying,
fee
fees.
for
an
each
information
item.
request.
No, they're fees, period, for anybody asking for copies, whether it's personal copies, whatever. But like I said, let's not fight about this, Felix.
The attorney has some.
I'm more than willing to find out what we need to do, and if we need to make Aaron right by $7 and you're $4.84 for your thumb drive, I'm more than to do what the district would like to be done.
I think what we need to do is revisit the policy
Exactly.
and all the fees.
I mean, But it just seems like the argument is kind of pointless to me. To do what you did, all you're saying is you do want to be held accountable. Let's make it a policy so that it doesn't fall in your lap. If somebody comes back and says, you can't do that, it's a board policy. Boom, it's a done deal.
Yeah.
Am I
And
correct,
we
Mike?
can put in that policy that
Mike shaking his head.
directors,
Yeah, yes, you are, Director. Thank you.
Thank you.
directors. I don't know how we gotta do that.
I-
But see, my point too is, if Sandy gives us this thumb drive and charges us for it, then it's yours. But if we don't, then you have to I would think that you would return that thumb drive. You can, clean it, I mean, you
Yeah.
can delete everything.
Right.
And then return the thumb drive to Sandy.
Right.
And then. I don't have a problem doing that, but. If you keep the thumb drive, then you should pay for it.
I agree with that. I got no problem, because I do my business, do my study. And if I don't need, I say, here it is, go ahead and wipe it out. I got the information in my notes that I did. You know, I don't have a problem with that. But the problem is with the paper, I do have a problem. Nobody should have to pay for something that we're getting policies or whatever we're asking for to review.
Right. I agree
Okay,
with that.
so I like the way, Director Johnson said, let's get into the policy. I agree with you. Let's get it done and get it out of the way.
So can you direct both myself and the attorney to work together for a template to bring back to the board for that policy?
Template,
I'm sure there's other boards that have the same policy. So I'm sure between your attorney and myself, we can find one to bring back, and we can, with your attorney's authorization, he can critique it.
Mike,
Yes.
is it wrong for us to make a policy to say as long as it has to do with HPUD business, that we need resources, whether it's pencil, paper, pens? Do we have to go through this, the law thing? We as directors can make a policy, am I correct?
Yeah.
Because we're not taking it home.
That's what I'm asking.
No, we are.
No, I mean, we're not, it's not personal use.
Yeah, Director Flores, when I'm hearing regarding what you have done or other directors have done with this matter, you know, having a thumb drive or having some copies, nothing wrong with that at all, as long as there's, you know, budgeted, you know, money for it. I think what we need to do maybe is just, you know, clear up an ambiguity in the policy, because yes, absolutely, you should have, you know, resources to do your work. There's no problem with that at all.
She starts doing, you know, they're talking an hour and a half, 2 hours. That's a lot of ducats when we can just do it.
HPUD business or HPUD wish time?
But one thing that's important here is that having a policy, it shouldn't be something that's in the discretion of the general manager to decide whether something should be charged for or not. That's why if you have a policy, it's very clear. If you're going to be doing your work as a director, you get access to a thumb drive, you get copies, and these things are there, and they're not going to be charged for like they would other people. So if you make that clear, then that's great. Then our general manager or anyone else has clear guidance, and you're not going to have, you know, problems with getting charged.
We can do it.
Yeah, we can change the policy.
Yeah, change the policy.
Yeah.
That if, as long as the board of directors is something like, if the board of directors is doing HPUD's business, then they're not charged.
Yes.
Now, if I have something personal for myself, I get charged, just like the policy.
Yeah.
And I've already done that, putting in information, you should charge me. But I had no problem because it was for me. We got it. We said we can do
We just do review the policy.
it. Okay,
And make the changes that we want to make, and then move forward.
Okay.
So that will get tabled or put on next month's agenda. Or we could wait till the first of the year to do that, because we got a lot of other.
Yeah, right. Just as long as we get it done.
Yeah, it's not,
Because right now, you know, yeah, I agree with you.
okay, so. Number 14, discussion of, obligation of state water fund.
Did you want to take this one? Or you want me to? Which kind, we reviewed the contracts for the project, okay? Did we get 100% loan?
100% grant.
Good, grant. Did we owe a loan on it?
We do not.
We read that half of it was a grant and half of it was a loan.
Originally, it was.
But they changed it. I'm sorry, I was present. They changed it to a total grant, Felix. Both water and sewer.
But the water actually says loan on it. That was.
That's what we read. We read
And
loan.
it even,
Did you look at the amended?
yeah, I'm talking about because that was what I asked for a copy, for was the second where it updated and increased the amount. And, it lined through some of the stuff that then wasn't pertinent anymore because of the change that was being done to it.
It was 100% loan or 100% grant, excuse me. And we even,
And it's in the contract. The one you gave us to review.
it's probably the one that they crossed out a bunch of things in.
I don't know what you guys read.
Yeah.
But originally it was a 50-50, grant loan. And then at the end, they decided that we'd give us a total grant.
One more time. Aaron, am I wrong or am I
And it's
right?
clear water, which is wastewater, not water. The water side was always 100% grant.
Yeah, and the verbiage on that got changed a little and some of the things got redacted. Well, not redacted because you can still read it, but it got
Lined item.
yeah, lined out. And I did not bring that the copies of that tonight.
Well, that's okay. We're gonna review them again. Can you tell me what page and everything that you're talking about when it says loan? Because excuse me, grant.
Grants on wastewater.
That's, yeah. I mean, we read it 3 times and both of us came to the same thing. We have a loan we're paying back.
We don't have a loan that we're paying back.
Okay, just give me the page number and what paragraph so I can read it to see if I'm reading the same thing you're reading. Okay,
I'll have to review my binders.
okay. And the other part of that contract, it says, tell me if I'm correct, that they want us to put all that money in a separate bank account. Okay,
No, when we did we had to have separate accounts when we were doing the contract.
well, my understanding, the way it said, that when we collect the money for the people, the 100% increase we got, let me finish. It says that money will be put in a separate account. And we have to make sure we have money to pay the loan. Again,
It didn't
she
go
said
in-
we don't have a loan.
It didn't go into that part, but it does say in there about, with the increase, that the increase is supposed to go into a separate, account.
You mean the increase? 100%. She increased, it was double.
She didn't.
No,
I don't understand what you're saying. Tom. The 1.5% of what?
The facilities charge.
He's talking
Remember,
about.
we had charged, 2010.
He and Felix are talking about the same thing, except Felix is talking about the percentage raise. He's talking about the percent of median income that we had to raise it by.
Oh,
Yeah.
which I've handed out 3 times and it's been part of your board packets, the
I
reason
understand that.
why we had to do the rate increase. No, I do understand that.
We understand that, but also we read that we could determine if we have enough money to pay back the loan, okay? And run the business. We don't have to charge double the community's water and sewer bills. We can determine how much we wanna raise it. That's the interpretation I got, right?
When the attorneys went over it, and there was more than one attorney, not just our old attorney, plus the attorney from the state and everything else on that, I was under the understanding that if we changed our resolution and our price of less than the 1.5%, we could owe the whole state back all the dollar amount. Because that would be basically null and void of the contract. So if we reduce the rate, we're basically telling the state, screw you, and now we're gonna do what we want, and they can say, thank you, we'll take that $13 million back right now. And you find a loan for $13 million.
Is
to
that
pay
in
the
the
state back.
contract? Cause I didn't read that.
Yeah, that's actually highlighted in one of those pages, because it says right in there that if we,
I told
Did
you
you say-
about that,
Okay.
because that part that is in there without, it doesn't say exactly how much, but the fact that it does have to be increased. The only part that I think we should be doing that I was mentioning about is that it says it's supposed to go into a separate bank account. That's all. So that we know exactly that increase is going into for future and not for current expenses. That's all.
That was my original understanding also. And I don't know when it changed, but I was under the impression that it was supposed to go in there for 30, 40 years, whatever. And the next time it happened, the state wouldn't be on the hook for paying it, that we should have the funding for it.
Right.
And I don't know when that changed or how it changed. Okay, I don't know that. All I know is that's what was my original understanding. It's like you guys are saying. Okay, the other understanding was, and I don't know, Yule was on the board, Lee was on the board. I don't know if Jim and Phil was on the board yet. I think you were. I think
The
Jim
second
was.
time.
Jim was, but I had to sign the paperwork. We thought we were gonna slide on, that raise thing at first. Okay, then 1 month came up, I had to sign, or we wouldn't get the money for the water or sewer or vice versa. The next month, it was the extra one. Within a month or 2 or 3, had to sign for both of them, guaranteeing the fact that we would raise the rates for the new water system. Then we got sort of spanked on the hand a little bit because we didn't raise it, but they thought we should have. It came back 2 or 3 years later, wanted to know about the money. And we had to tell them that we weren't going to raise it till the job was done, because we've had so many times trying to get it done. Had $4 million, got an $8 million bid, couldn't do it. We've been paying this higher rate that whole time. So in reality, by the time we did start paying it, we saved each individual homeowner that has water and sewer $5,000 out of pocket. And, I got raked over the coals, we should have raised it a little here, a little there, instead of being so harsh. But I looked at it, and nobody else came into the board meetings to express something for different ideas. So we went with the hard, after, $5,000 saved, said in October, we got hit.
well, we didn't have a choice, because Johnny, you and I, neither one, I wasn't GM and you weren't the board chair back in 2019 when they passed the resolution, and that's when the state thought we were going to raise the rates in 2019. So that resolution 2019-03 and 2019-04 says that we're raising the rates, and they wanted to know why we hadn't raised them in 2019.
And so we came back and said we didn't want to raise it till the project was done, which was technically October. So anyhow, that's how we got the back part. That's my knowledge.
So I guess Jim,
Yeah,
I think we should go ahead and put that money in a separate bank. That's what I'd like to see. So can I make a motion on it that we do
No,
it and we'll get
it was just Dennis discussion.
just for discussion?
And so I'm hoping to do a budget workshop on 10:30. let you guys know for the last 60 days. And so that's something that we can talk about at that time too.
I don't wanna talk about it, Jim.
Be there.
I'd like to get it on the next
you
agenda.
said you'd
What do
be
I
there.
gotta do? For a vote.
Well, so if you leave it in, if you itemize it, just giving you the pros and cons, Felix. If you put it in a separate bank account, you're gonna get 1% interest. If you leave it in the bank account that it is now, you're getting almost 6%. So you could actually line item it and get better interest in a much better lump sum than just putting it in a separate bank account by itself.
I even like that. No, so let me ask you this one question. You have it mixed up with all the other money for this interest, big interest, right? So if we put that in a separate account, okay? I'm just making a figure up now, okay? And we make $100,000 a year. I get 6% of $100,000 a year. Am I correct?
You're not, yeah.
For that, because that's what we started with,
Correct.
okay? So that would be 60,000, am I correct? 60,000
No.
interest?
6,000.
Yeah, 6,000. So now we got 106,000, right? So now we're, in 15 years, we're doubling our money. Right?
Right.
That's the same thing. It just doesn't, I just don't, it says a separate account. If you can get a different account just for that particular
You're gonna
project money, then that's good.
She's telling you though that it's gonna be not at 6%.
You'll be lucky to make $20 to $30 a month on $100,000. So just something to think about.
Okay.
There's that is always something where we can research it too and see about getting something where we have a better interest rate and bring that up at another time, or like which bank to go to and do we want a money market? Do we want a savings? Do we want a checking? Which one do we want to be in? So they get the best potential interest rate. Like discuss it in the future.
I got one last question on that one. How much are we making since we rose the facility pay? I mean, the facility charges.
So you're getting approximately a little over 9,000 a month. So it's about $110,000 a year. And we just at the end of this year will complete a year. But if you were actually, which makes no sense to me. So, anyway, the reason it doesn't make sense to me is if you were funding depreciation on $14 million, you would have to be paying $600,000 to $700,000 away, which no district has ever been able to afford. And that's why districts don't fund their depreciation and a whole. So your 100,000, if you do 100,000 in 40 years, you're not going to have $14 million.
So, I don't know. I don't understand. If you're saying there's no way it's ever gonna happen, but we raised our community 100%. And then you say, no matter what money we get, we're not gonna have what we're gonna need for the future.
No, because things are going to double, just like we went $2 million and $4 million, and this project ended up to almost $13 million. And you're telling me in 30 years, when we go to replace these pipes again, that it's only going to cost us $13 million to replace them?
Probably 60 million.
So we're always,
Wow. So then why don't we just pay what we need to pay on the payment to the state?
we don't have a
You
payment.
don't have a
Oh,
payment,
say it's a
really.
grant. I'm still thinking it's a loan. That's what I read. But she says I'm wrong.
No.
So she's gonna give me the
It was,
information. I'll remember now.
that did
Okay,
change.
I'll
yeah.
remember now.
Okay.
Okay?
It's okay.
So you give me the grant and then I still say, if it's not gonna be feasible, we gotta figure a way how to reduce these costs to our community. It's killing them, man. That's all I ever hear when I'm out there, out at the pantry, helping out and stuff about the water and the sewer. You know? Some of these people gotta go there because they ain't got no money to eat. What the hell is that?
It's an asshole. I called the cops on last week. I'm like,
Yeah, because that light was, that's about the third time that's happened.
Yeah.
no.
Yeah,
I like that.
that's second time I
That
see
shit,
it.
everybody hit the dirt. So anyway, I think
laser in your eye is not good. All right.
so, go ahead, I mean, it's not a topic, she's gonna give me the information, I can see it. Erin, you have, still have the copies that we made, I wanna reread them again, and I'm hoping that we could go through it again. And maybe we'll read the punctuation is good, and the thing loan, I know I saw the word loan, you know, okay, so that's good, you just,
What?
Sandy, I appreciate it, please. If you show me, and your copy that you're showing me is a loan, I mean a grant and not a loan. So what you're telling me, that word loan should not be in that contract. Am I correct?
Yeah, it was changed.
Yeah.
I don't know where.
Okay,
Sandy will know where it's at. I don't.
okay, Jim, we're good to go, we're gonna work on it.
So, that's the, okay, Sandy is being.
Do we have to give you like direction to do it?
No,
What I just
we've
asked
had a
for?
discussion.
Okay. Alright,
So Sierra Alliance meeting is canceled for tomorrow. Actually, it'll be the 20th of November. The budget workshop is scheduled for October 30th from 1 to 3, and I had talked to Erin last month and she said she could make it. And that was the person I was concerned about since she's our working director. So we're marching forward with that so that we can hopefully review the 2025 budget and go over any questions related to the 2025 financials. So we have a little bit of better understanding and not have to spend a whole board meeting just on approving of 2025 budget. I mean, we still ask questions, but hopefully the details we can kind of get into at the meeting. And I'm still seeking approval for the board to change the November and December board meeting for the third week of the month instead of the fourth week, because both of those are during the holidays.
Right.
So if we can get a direction that we can move the November and December board meetings to November 19th and December 17th, and should have
We need a motion.
just direction, and then I can do a
Okay.
special meeting for both of those.
Well, I'm good for the third week for both.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I'm not here on the 19th.
You good?
Oh, you got one.
We got four?
Yeah.
Are those for both? You,
I'm good on two. I mean,
just, are
17.
both months you're not gonna be able to make them?
I'm not gonna be able to make November, but December, what was the December?
17th,
17th?
17th, I'm good, yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
okay. Thank you, board members. Update on Equinox, last month. Mr. Deere got the Equinox. The insurance company and the body shop would like to total the Equinox. It's a 13-year-old vehicle with average miles on it. They would like to give us $64.5906 on the thing, or we can buy it back or see if they can fix to make it runnable. So that
I got a couple of questions. Where did it happen?
$395.
395? And, you were the driver?
Yes.
Okay. And you said about the body shop. I'm curious, what body shop did you take it to? I was in town today. I thought you took it to the Ford, but it wasn't there.
No, I went to Lassen. They told me it would be 6 to 8 weeks. So I went to the one on Johnstonville and they said they could get it done within 3 weeks, but then the insurance company came back and said that they would prefer to total it unless the district wanted to pay for repairs.
So
Okay.
I would like to see documentation from the insurance company stating that they would rather us total it than repair it.
I can email that over to you tonight.
Just have it. for next week.
Johnsonville Road, is that over
Well,
by,
they're paying for storage on it, so we need to
is it
probably,
drivable? Is it drivable? Did you tow it there? Or you
No,
drove it
I
there?
drove it there, but I had to top off the radiator because there was a severe leak in the radiator.
How about, you mean it's overheating,
Yeah.
Right.
bucked up?
Well, it hit it head on, so it took out pretty much the whole,
Did it do the bags at all?
no,
Did it, bent any of the frame?
not that I'm aware of.
So it's basically you repair.
So,
How much is the repair?
well,
$7,000, approximately $7,000, right?
and they're saying the vehicle's only worth 6,400.
Okay. But a new car costs $40,000,
No,
okay?
Thirty-
So,
thirty-
I'll
About
say
half of that.
$35,000.
30,
you can get,
35.
you can get,
35.
you can get one for about 24,000. But what I would suggest right now would be, and it's up to the board, but I would suggest to take the total, put it into our investment under vehicles and look at possibly getting one of the new Mavericks or like the electric Rangers, because in 2030, well, actually 2030, they're trying to have you have 1/3 of your fleet electric. So there's quite a few districts. Costa Mesa has got I think it's a Maverick, or it's
That's
not the
Ford.
Bolt. They are Ford.
Maverick.
They've got 3 different hybrids. They got a hybrid and whatever, but something to look into for the future so that we have an electric vehicle that either are when we're doing meter reads or when we're operator is out of district, they could use it.
Well, they're gonna have to, talk about it. The last thing, did you go to the doctor?
I did not.
Why? You got in an accident? You didn't hurt yourself? Are
No.
you sure?
No, that's why the airbags didn't go off, sir. I slowed
But,
down and
but I'm saying, we hit a deer. Okay? And we had 2 of our people got a fender
rear-ended.
bender,
They got
and they
rear-ended.
had to go to a chiropractor.
They got rear-ended very hard. They were standing still and got rear-ended.
And they got hurt, right?
They did.
Okay?
There's nothing that says she has to do with the doctor.
I thought that was part of the policy. If you got in an accident, you have to get cleared, so later on, the employee can't say, oh, I hurt mine because I got in that accident.
No, because
Doesn't he have to get cleared?
there's a time limit on which you can.
Okay.
complain.
I just asked you, because I always thought that anytime an employee got in an accident, they had to get cleared. But okay, you guys say no, that's cool. That's about for me.
So well number 2, October 9th and 10th, Plymouth Sierra Rural Electric had 2 planned outages. The 9th went as planned without any problems. Unfortunately, on the 10th, the power outage came back on with dirty power, which when you say dirty power, it means it's not full power. And on the 10th, well number 2 was filling FCI Herlong. So when the power went off, our system did just like it's supposed to do, and it went to our generator. But the unfortunate part is that when the electricity came back on, our generator said, okay, electricity's back on, generator turned off, it went over to Plymouth Sierra Rural Electric, and when it did that, it wasn't full force. So Royce and I worked with the electrician last Friday, and we're looking at getting parts to replace the necessary repairs in the box. There's 2 boxes that we thought at one point we were going to have to replace them both, but after further looking into it, we can now at least manually use well number 2 in case of an emergency, which was Royce and I's major make sure that we always have redundancy. So we're in the process of repairing that, and it should still, I hope, stay within budget unless something comes in crazy from the electrician that he didn't tell me.
So you're replacing the power box.
I think right now it's more like the wiring harness. At first, I thought I was going to have to replace both 2 different power boxes, but now I think it's just part of the wiring harness for one box. But it should be within our budget. If it's not, I'll bring it back to you folks.
So if you damage the harness,
So it won't automatic, it won't
It's
automatic,
gonna work.
huh?
Do we know that the circuit's gonna work when we put the new harness in?
Yes,
Okay. So,
yeah. Right now we're on manual, so it won't automatically switch over.
okay,
So we're not using well number 2 at all unless we manually use it or we have to.
so when should that be complete?
I would hope within the next week, if not sooner. He was looking for parts.
And Loomis doesn't have any other power on the schedule.
No, you know,
They
and
give you an alert, right?
they did give us an alert. You know, and electrician, unfortunately, that's why we have our generators.
Yeah.
That's why our SCADA system works. We did not know that during that power outage that the BOP would be calling for water at that time. They probably had late showers with all the shutdowns and going on in there. Don't know.
Oh, that was for the tank.
Yeah. So the tank was calling for water. So.
I bet it.
Rate study update.
So, Owen from SAW and Director Johnson and I reviewed the rate study with the experts. I
Who's the
staff,
expert?
the people you hired?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, California Rural Water Association?
Yes,
I went, okay,
yes.
now I know who the expert is.
So, we were all kind of taken back by what they were coming up with to do, to proposal for rates. The wastewater, you know, you're talking now about the community not being able to afford things. You know, it was not, I'm lost for words. It was not something that I would want to even bring to this board to even try to do a Prop 218 for. So I was getting him more information, along with the, SRF loans and grants so that he could look at some of that information. There was information that he didn't have that he didn't ask for originally that we're relooking at and reevaluating. But what I would like, you know, once we get the screw press done, I think our priority next year really needs to start looking for grant monies to move forward with the updates at the plant. Because he wanted to basically, I guess our dream was, you know, we're looking at the master plan that says we need all these things at the plant. And when he's looking at when the experts are looking at the master plan, he's thinking that we need to be pocketing, you know, anywhere from $100,000 to $300,000 annually. And he wanted the ratepayers to pay for that. Well, I suggest that we don't go that way. We stick with a lesser dollar amount and we concentrate on getting grants to upgrade the wastewater plant in the future.
Now, did he determine by a household or are you talking in bulk?
No, in household,
And
how much per
They
person?
need to get per house should be paying with all inflation and everything.
Well, if you did, we can,
Why are you afraid to say the number?
because it's terrible.
Well, it's just for information, Sandy, we're gonna.
So wastewater, they were proposing a 35% to 30% increase over the next 5 years, each year. So your 65, 62 that you're paying right now in wastewater would go to 66, 69 next year, 86, 69 the following year, 112.70 the following year, 140.87 the following year, and at the 5-year mark, you'd be paying 169.05 just for your wastewater.
And that's on top of the $150 I'm paying now.
That's
Well,
what I'm just gonna ask.
Yeah.
That's,
I mean, I'm talking.
it's taking your $65 on wastewater. And in 5 years, making that $65 be $169. So that would be $100 increase to what you're paying now.
Right, so I'll be paying $256.
That's just for wastewater.
And I don't count water. So let's nix that, because my other question is, if you do one, you have to do all.
Correct.
So that'd be a big burden on West Patton Village. There's gotta be a different way.
There's no way we can waive West Patton Village since they just had to pay for, excuse me,
Well-
they got their facility charge increased?
No,
My suggestion would be to bring the rest of the customers up to West Patton Village's wastewater at 65, 62, and then increase at a 5% increase over the next 5 years. To pay for inflation and
Yeah,
move forward.
but it's not gonna be automatic.
Well, it would be automatic because we do a Prop 218, we would notice all of our customers, we would have a hearing, and then we'd pass a resolution like we did in 2019. And every year it would automatically do that increase if we didn't have 51% of the people telling us
That's
no.
a question. That's ridiculous. Because, I mean, the way things are going now. Kids can't afford to buy a house now. Wait until they get the sewer bill. My son takes over my house after I go on.
Well,
His water
that's-
bill is gonna be 350.
This is why I had a heart attack, so I'm just saying, I got him more information. Tried to tell him, again, we are a rural situation, we are a low income area. This is not something that our customers can afford. That yes, we want to do a lot of updates, or would like to do some updates and be able to increase the plant if we get more houses in here.
Gotta go. Well, that ain't gonna happen. Gotta go grant.
So,
Can't pay that, we have to have grants.
right,
I know, but
hence why,
upgrading is not, we can't get grants to upgrade Title VIII. That's on Carrot.
right, that is.
Yeah,
That is.
so.
But I'm just saying, what we're, for the plant right now, like we've talked in the past, and part of our master plan that you guys been talking with Owen and Shaw for the last couple of years in the master plan. Putting a digester in, putting a second clarifier. Let's get grant money, let's get this done. If you sit here and have to pay for it, this is the rates you're looking at if we have to pay for this. And we can't afford it.
We have to have.
So we have to have grants to get to that board.
So Sandy, when you did this review, now on the trailer park, did they review it as every trailer being a single residence? Or,
They are bulk.
pardon me?
They
I know.
are a bulk.
Wait a second, wait, I have something to say here, seriously. The rate study is going to be presented next month, correct?
Well, I'm gonna talk about it a little more during our budget meeting. And then hopefully he will bring us back better numbers next month.
Because this portion is a report, not a discussion.
Okay,
And we're already at 2.5 hours,
All
and
right.
I'm 2 seconds from walking out on you guys, because I'm not feeling well. So.
Okay.
let's keep going.
I'm
So,
not gonna vomit on you.
Okay,
the draft of the 10-year BOP or DOD is attached. And then I wanted to give you guys our new newsletter with the PFAS. A couple of years ago, we had to do, thank you. A couple of years ago, we had to do PFAS and we came back clear. And then they turned around 2 years ago and it cost us quite a bit of money to do PFAS testing and we were still clear. And then the state decided that they were going to come out and do the testing for us free because they were determined that we had to have PFAS out here, and we came back clear. And according to our contract operator, our numbers are better than he's seen at any place.
Wow.
So that's something to be very present. They still understand because we were in emissions dump why we didn't have high PFAS, but our well, like again, is a different source than what the depot has.
Exactly.
So that is my good news. I will end with that.
Okay, I would like to, table the closed session. Did I do that?
The attorney's been on the,
Yeah,
they
the attorney's
can
been
hear.
here the
Huh?
whole time.
Why didn't you?
Yes.
The attorney.
What I would recommend for closed session is,
Trying to be here the whole time.
Jim.
for the closed session.
Mike is talking to you guys.
Right, go ahead.
yes, what I would recommend for closed session is this. It's agendized as a review of our general manager. Your board has the discretion to have the general manager be present or not be present. That is your choice. It's also your choice to have me be present or not. It's unlike other closed sessions, it's actually not required to have a counsel there, although you can. So just wanted to make sure that was all made clear before we go into closed session. If you would like to or would not like our general manager to be there, she must be informed of that.
Is what? The contract for the base, right?
No, we have nothing left. If that, the last thing is the closed session.
I want to table that till next month because we won't get out of here till 9 o'clock.
Yeah, well, if you,
We're going to it right now. We can be out of here in 30 minutes.
It's been a pleasure, folks. I'll see you later.
Okay.
Have a nice closed session. You don't have to interrupt the meeting.
yeah, he did. You have a great night, Johnny.
Yeah, let's just get it done.
Okay, the next thing
Maybe
is,
you should have organized your talking earlier better.
Don't get me on this.
So your attorney is trying to talk to you guys.
okay, so what is your board's pleasure? First of all, should,
Yeah, I know you don't.
if you would like our general manager not to be present, you need to let her know.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to him by himself. I would, now, I'm not, I'm not expressing myself.
It has to be dealing with her performance. It can't be anything else.
And that will, and yes, and I already did my questions that I was gonna be asking it, that.
For her?
The attorney, that the attorney would
Okay.
have.
I think she needs.
I thought she would be here, then he said she doesn't have to be here,
She
so.
doesn't have to, but if I was her, I wanna know why.
Okay.
What do you guys want from me? What's up? If I was her.
All right.
Because it changes week to week.
Thank you.
Yes. Or not, so there's a lot of redundancy. But
All right.
they report that. So,
So do you want me to leave you guys the
Everybody
key?
says no, they want you here. That's right. Is that correct, everybody?
I for me, and I for me.
Okay, I'll do it. Going majority.
Closed session?
Okay, if we are in closed session, the recording should stop.
Right.
Yes, I'm leaving. I'm the recorder. I'm glad to see you.
No, the recording.
Oh, the
Hey,
Recording should stop.
better shut up the camera and the tape.
Well, not the camera, just the.
So Mike, we're on a Zoom. John, before you leave, do you know how to stop the recording without stopping the,
Oh, yeah, you
Zoom?
can just do the record button. No, there's a record button. Down in here, there is a record button, so not,
oh, what'd you press?
I press something?
I don't know. Okay. Low system resolution.
Start going across that. So not again. Can you go further over, like pull this over or press more? Press more. Pause, stop recording.